Hi, thanks for joining. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to introduce you all to the wonderful world of Office 365 and in particular SharePoint. Um, I I run a small business and I find Office 365 is probably the best thing that I have subscribed to as a small business. I don't have time or the money to have an IT staff and manage servers and have Exchange guys and SharePoint guys and all these other types of guys assisting me with running my company. And essentially, I like to focus on what I do. Of course, ironically, it is SharePoint that I like to do, and I do consulting specifically for SharePoint. But to set up my development environment, to do all that, I really don't have the resources to really do it all the time on my own. So I find having Office 365 to be the best thing, at least from a business perspective or a small business perspective. So real quickly, I wanted to go through some of the options that you get with SharePoint, some of the features and the functionality, and just show you how close SharePoint is in the cloud or Office 365 version of SharePoint compared to your on-premise version of SharePoint. So right here, this is the Office 365 Admin Center. This will show us any issues that we have with any of the products that we currently subscribe to in Office 365. And in addition to SharePoint, Office 365, you also get Lync, which is Microsoft's communication component. So I can host meetings and um, communicate with other employees that I have and whatnot. You have Exchange, which allows you to have your emailing and Outlook, of course, as you can see up here. And of course, you have your Office products. So now I can access Word in the cloud or Office Web App Word and things like that. And in addition, I could also, utilize InfoPath and do all the normal things that I normally would have done had I had, Office on a desktop and if I had an Exchange server running and things like that. I can do everything. I'm not limited, but now I reduce my total cost of ownership with respect to the IT presence that I need to maintain. But as a business person, I want to just focus on what I do, which is consulting and providing services to others, as opposed to managing and maintaining servers and whatnot. Um, so real quickly, I just wanted to jump to the SharePoint instance of Office 365. And this is the SharePoint Admin Center. So if anyone's familiar with Central Admin in SharePoint, this is definitely way different. It's not as many options and whatnot. It's definitely watered down. With Office 365, you get one um, out-facing or public website that you can create on your own, or you could, create a template or use a template or purchase a template and whatnot. And then you have your site collections, and this is pretty much where you would do the bulk of your work and collaboration with your employees. The options up here are pretty limited and they're pretty straightforward. You have your quota, sharing, you set the owners, and you have DNS information and whatnot. On the side here, this pretty much shows you the application services that you have available with respect to your SharePoint instance. So depending on the type of um, product you purchase with Microsoft or Office 365, these services will vary. So if you have an E1 plan, you might have a lesser version or less amount of application services available on this left panel here. I have currently plan E3. It's not the highest plan, but it's one of the higher plans, but I think there's E4 as well and whatnot. So E3 gives me InfoPath, and it gives me, I think, a couple other ones. I don't exactly remember what the difference is, but essentially it gives me what I need to make sure that I can still maintain a viable business and have Office 365 in the cloud. So I'm just going to click on here and I'm going to go directly to one of my team sites. And so this is a team site, one of the team sites that I have. And so here you can see a project summary. And what I usually do is I synchronize this I synchronize my projects with Office Project. And how I do that is I can just simply click on Office Project on my desktop, and I can simply click on this template right here. It'll ask me for the site and what I would like to import from SharePoint. And so I'm going to click on check address, and it'll bring down my task list. This is my project task list, or my project essentially, and I click OK. And what it's doing now is it's pulling all the information from the project that I had shown you just a couple of seconds ago right here, and now I have it here. And so what I can do is I can now maintain my project directly on my desktop, and I can make changes, and those changes will be synced right back to SharePoint. I just got to click here, and it'll then sync the changes back to SharePoint. So that's one of the neat features that you can definitely utilize if you have Office projects running on your system, or if you purchased it. Um, some other things that you have is, of course, you have the notebook, which is Microsoft's OneNote functionality. And this is what I usually use to just jot down notes on things that I want to do. So here are some videos that I want to create. And as you can see, the UI, or the presence that you have with respect to SharePoint in the cloud, is very similar to your version of SharePoint that you have on premise. You really don't lose a lot of functionality. If I can click on here and go to site content, here are just some of the apps that I've installed and I'm running. There's some pretty neat apps here that are specific to Office 365, I believe, or they come automatically installed or running in Office 365. One is Site Mailbox. What this will do is it'll allow your end users or yourself to directly get access to your Outlook webmail. So you just click on here and it'll take you directly to your Outlook webmail, just similar to as if you clicked on the top bar here like I just did. So I think that's one of the cool features. So now what you can do is you really don't need to jump away from within SharePoint to get access to your mail. You can just simply click on that app and it'll take you directly to your mail. So yeah, and one of the other apps that I believe come installed automatically when you have Office 365. Again, I believe you can install all of these from the App Store if they're not available in your template or whatever you provision as your team site. And to do that, to get to the App Store, just click on Add Apps and then click on App Store. And pretty much all of the apps that you currently see, I'm sure you can download from here as well. So I'm just going to run back to my site again. And one of the other neat apps is public content migration. So what this does is it'll allow you to migrate some of your on-premise data to your public website essentially. So all you do is you have this app running on your other or your source, and pretty much you can have it import some data from your source to your destination. Other than that, all the other apps are pretty much self-explanatory. All of these apps you can get on-premise. Some of these are just installed from or purchased from the App Store. And ultimately, I just want to show you guys how SharePoint in the cloud looks. It's very similar to SharePoint on-premise. No major differences really, but you get that sense where you're not managing a bunch of servers and you're hiring IT staff to manage your site any longer. Now you're just paying for a subscription service at a nominal fee, and now you can have SharePoint running for you. You don't have to worry about maintenance tasks and all that crazy stuff. Hope you found it interesting, and look further for more videos of mine. And please visit my website, kdpsharepointsolutions.com, or www.kdpsharepointsolutions.com. Okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.